Hey K Squad, welcome back to my channel. If you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe and hit the bell and the like button. That way you can stay in contact with me and follow this crazy journey, amazing but crazy journey that we have been having. As you all know, yes, I did have lovely Amir. I did already upload that. I will call it the labor vlog. um I uploaded that already. I just want to come on here today and talk to you all kind of a little bit more in depth about how that experience was for me. It was pretty traumatic, honestly. um the fact that initially I had planned on going natural, the entire journey leading up to just became a whole lot, and I was not ready for it. So, um, Amir was due February the 20th, but I started to get really impatient probably around January 30th. Um, I know it's normal for moms to be overwhelmed towards the end of the pregnancy and just ready for it to be over, and that's pretty much where I was at. I started getting to the point where I was just trying a bunch of crazy stuff to try to naturally induce my labor. And I think for me, I struggled the most comparing this pregnancy with my last pregnancy. And it's really not fair to do that because they say every pregnancy is different, which I agree 100%. Even though, my last pregnancy I had a girl, this was a boy. I don't really think that too much has a lot to do with it. I just think that every pregnancy is different, and I compared the two a lot. And with doing that, it discouraged me for a lot of reasons because I was expecting things to go the way that they went the last time. And you don't get so lucky every time. So by the time my due date actually came, um, I just didn't feel like he was gonna be here anytime soon. I had an appointment 2 days before my due date, and she asked me if I wanted her to sweep my membrane. She said that it could possibly make my water break though, and I was like, I don't want to do that. I really want to just go into labor on my own. And so we didn't do that. But at this appointment, I was a good 3 centimeters and 60% effaced. To me, initially that number sounded really good when I heard it 2 weeks prior, 2-3 weeks prior, when my doctor told me that I was 2 centimeters and 50% effaced. In my mind, he'll be here any second now. Again, comparing it to with my daughter. So I was panicking and frantic and rushed to do this and rushed to do that, and was just running crazy trying to get all of these things done, thinking that the baby would be here. So again, due date February 20th, due date come and go, and it's no signs of baby. So I went ahead and start back working. I was very frustrated, very over it, for multiple reasons. One, just being physically exhausted with the pain and the body pain. I was mentally exhausted with just the expectation and the family and friends. Where's the baby? Where's the baby? And I'm thinking the same thing. So naturally, it was draining mentally and emotionally. It was draining. Just anticipating meeting him, but overall, I would say I was okay. I was just very anxious. So when my due date came and went, I was due, like I said, on the 20th. On the 21st, I called and I said, hey, my due date was yesterday. I talked to my doctor, and she said that if I wanted to get induced, to just call in and we'll get it scheduled. So that's what I did. I called it in. Now, initially, I didn't want to get induced because they say that when you get induced, you can't really control the contractions. They come, and they come hard. And I plan on going natural, so I wanted it to kind of be similar to last time, where they were consistent, but it gave me enough time to prepare for the next, just everything mentally. I was told that I wouldn't be able to mentally prepare if I were to be induced, so I would have to just get an epidural, which I didn't want either. I was just so over it mentally. I was like, I guess we just get an epidural, it is what it is. And that was just my attitude towards the whole operation. So this was Friday the 21st when I called for the induction and everything. And all Friday I'm just like, baby's not coming, baby's not going to be here. I'm doing all these other things. I had about 4 or 5 clients scheduled the upcoming week. And that night around 1 a.m. I went into labor. Initially, I didn't think I was really in true labor. There's been so many false alarms that I was just like, I don't know. I didn't know if it was real. I didn't know if I was really in labor, like in true labor. I was timing my contractions, and I'll put a link video in so that you all can see how consistent they were. I timed them for a good hour, and they were close. Again, I let that hour go by, and then I woke Khalil up, and I was like, hey, I think that we should probably go to the hospital. I was like, I'm gonna wake the girls up, make sure that they have, appropriate clothes, and I'll let you know. So he got up, he got dressed. I got upstairs, made sure that the girls were dressed. And then I just went ahead and said, just come sleep on the couch, just in case we out tonight. I don't have to wake you all up or anything like that. You can just be right here. So after getting them on the couch, I was just like, I think we should just go. I was like, I'm not sure what's happening. They're not, it's not, the pain isn't excruciating, but they're super close together. And that worries me a little bit. So we pack up the car, get in the car. On the way to the car, I'm having contractions. So I'm like, okay, let's just get there. Everything's fine. And so the girls are in the back, and they're asking like, well, why do you think you're in labor, and what's going on? And I'm just letting them know, like, okay, I don't know for sure, but we're gonna go. We're gonna have them check me, make sure everything's okay. And then if I'm fine and I'm not in labor, we'll go back home, we'll lay back down. If I am in labor, we're already at the hospital, we already got our bags in the car. So I get to the hospital, and it's about 2:30, and we get checked in, which seemed like it took forever. I mean, it's like the amount of questions that's being asked and papers and things like that you got to sign in between contractions is crazy. Like, I get checked in, I'm in triage. They put all the wraps and stuff all on me and the monitors and things like that. And when she first checked me, I was 4 centimeters. So from there, she was like, you're pretty thin, baby's head's pretty low, but I want to give you a little bit of time because your cervix isn't all the way thinned out yet. So she came back about 2 hours later, and she checked me again, and I was 5 centimeters. And so she was like, okay, we're going to go ahead and admit you. when I first got into the room, I had to lay down for a second so that she could, put in my IV and hook up the blood pressure thing and some fluids and things like that. And while she's doing that, I'm just like, oh my goodness, like this is what I didn't want to be touched. I didn't want to be bothered. The pain I was going through was just crazy. And I was just like, I don't understand why we have to do all this. I get it, but just in a moment, my mind was just in a completely different place. And so, again, I was 5. I was like, great, we're doing great. I'm halfway there. I was really doing really good, talking myself through the contractions, or letting myself know, like, hey, this is what your body needs. Just let your body do what it's supposed to do. And when I was having a contraction, instead of me tightening up my cervix, or tightening anything, I would just let everything super loose and just tell myself that, this is me allowing my baby to come. I want to meet my baby. This is how it's going to happen. So, it got to about, I was laboring for hours. Got to about 8 in the morning, and she checked me again, and I was only like 6. So she checked me at 2, at 4, and at 6. And I had only got to like 6.5 centimeters. At this point, I was like, I don't know if I can continue to do this. 2 hours, 1 centimeter. So I know I got to get to 7, and it goes really, really fast. But how much longer is this going to take? Like, this time around was so different than last time that I couldn't even compare the pain. The pain was the pain, but my environment was different. The people I was surrounded by was different. And even my mind, again, was in a completely different space. I'm here. I got my man with me. I got my 2 daughters with me. I don't want them here while I give birth, but I didn't drop them off before because I didn't know if it was going to be happening or not. So it's just all of these things just happening in my mind and going on. And I got to a point where I was just like, I'm just ready to meet my baby. And I cannot keep my body calm enough. I tried going and getting in the tub, being in the shower, bouncing on a ball. I tried some standing and some dancing. And, I was able to get through one at a time, and I just took it one at a time. But it was this one point where I went to go and use the bathroom, and they were like back to back to back. It was like as soon as it ended, another one came, and I swear you all, I almost just broke down. And it just took so much out of me, and it's literally making me emotional just thinking about it. It took so much out of me. Like, I was, again, sitting on the toilet using the bathroom, and Khalil was going to step out for a second, but I was like, no, like, I need you here. You can't leave. And I'm literally just like holding on to him like a baby while I'm just getting through these contractions, and even trying to walk back to the bed after I finished using the restroom. It was like my whole weight is just on him because I could not like stand to my feet. And so I would go get in the bed, and I was in the bed, and I'm turning, I'm, just trying to find a comfortable position for in between contractions, so that when a contraction come, I could just think about it and get through it. And so I'm moving all around. Thankfully, he was there helping me out when it came to like massaging my back and massaging my neck, and he would massage my hands and things like that, just throughout the different phases of labor. But it helped, but at certain points it kind of made it worse, because it was like I couldn't communicate with him to say no. That's making it worse. Like, I was already in pain, So I kind of would just like shake my head or try to move his hand or something like that, just so that I can continue to focus through the contraction. But it was hard. My goodness. I sat and I started asking questions about pain meds, and they're like, well, the only thing that's available for you is the epidural, and that's where they put this needle in your back and this and that. And I sat there and I was like, man, okay, no, I don't want to do that. I had another contraction, and then I had another contraction, and I was like, okay, I think I want to go ahead and do it. And so I asked Khalil, his opinion and what he thought and things like that. And he was like, whatever you feel is best for your body. I was like, okay. So again, second child, never had an epidural. I'm not knowing what to expect. So they have me sit up and like lean forward at the edge of the table and like crisscross my legs. But I'm freaking out because I'm like, okay, I got to be still. But what if I have a contraction like while you're doing this? And he was like, well, as long as you just be still, it won't take me very long. And it really shouldn't affect your contractions. I was like, oh my goodness. Okay. So as he got started, I started to have a contraction. And I was freaking out, but my adrenaline was going. And I was like, okay, we're going to get through this, but you can't move or anything like that. We don't want you to be paralyzed or none of these other horror stories that I've heard. That's really, I've just heard a lot of horror stories, and I was like, I don't want to do this. So they get finished, with the incisions and things like that. And then they have me to lay back. And I want to say after about a good 5 minutes, I was like, wow. I was able to breathe again. I was able to think straight. I didn't feel like I was in this super stressed environment anymore. I felt calm. When the doctor came in and asked how I was feeling, I remember saying like an angel. Even though the contractions weren't excruciating, I still felt them. And when it came time to push, I still felt pushing. I'm glad that I got the epidural because I was able to calm down a whole lot. The girls, I remember Amaria coming up to me asking if she needed to hold my hand, and she's just like, I just feel so bad for you that I did it. And in the end, I felt so much better. I used to knock it, but not anymore, because when you just can't handle it mentally and you know your capabilities, sometimes it's best to just go ahead and say, I'm cool. I'm trying to prove anything to myself that I could do anything, because I knew that I could. It was just a preference. I just didn't want to get an epidural. But the fact that I did now, it's like, well, it is what it is. And your baby here, he healthy, you here, you healthy. What more could I ask for? That's really all I wanted anyway. And so, if you're still tuned in, thank you so much for listening to me rant on about this crazy experience of mine. Childbirth is wow. I do still have for you all coming up the nursery tour, which I am in right now. I figured I wasn't going to get to it before he got here, but it's absolutely fine because now you'll get to see it while it's in use. Before, it was just decoration. Now we've actually put a little dent in here with him being a little over a week old. And I'll actually have a few other vlogs coming soon. If it's anything that you all want to ask me about or any video suggestions that you have, definitely feel free to leave them in the comments below. If you aren't already, go ahead and follow me on Instagram at Kaya Loves Hair. And again, don't forget to subscribe and turn on your notifications. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you all the next time.